75% of network transactions on Solana are failing. But that is okay, because 25% of the time, the network works every time. What is up, everybody? Solomon here. Super excited to be with you all today. Have a pretty decent video for you guys. Going to hopefully make this a little bit educational for you all as well. We're going to be talking about Solana today. We're going to be talking about transactions per second. What is real versus what is stated. I guess you could make the argument either way, but we're going to dive into the weeds here and hopefully make this a little bit informative for you guys today. Also, for those that missed yesterday's video, Ripple has announced a stablecoin pegged to the United States dollar and other stable assets on the XRP ledger and for launch on Ethereum as well. CoinDesk essentially put out a hit piece today stating that what's the need for XRP if Ripple issues a stablecoin. So we're going to be diving into a really good thread from an XRP community member. We're going to be talking Solana. We're going to be talking a little bit of hbar. We're going to be talking real transactions per second. And I hope you guys enjoy this content. Please like and subscribe if you do. I am going to hop right in. First and foremost, I thought that this meme was a little bit appropriate. So this is from Anchorman, obviously. That's when he's I forget. I think he calls this cologne Sex Panther or something like that. But he says, what does he say? Like 80% of the time, it works every time. And yeah. It just kind of made me think about what's going on within the Solana ecosystem right now. Nearly 3/4 of Solana transactions have failed in March amidst rising volumes in the decentralized exchange. Solana DEX volume recovering after declining in March of 2024. But nearly 3/4 of transactions on the Solana network failed, according to stats on Dune Analytics. Sol price is nearly unchanged in the past week. We're going to dive a lot more into kind of the history of these transaction failures or haltages or things like that within the Solana network here. And again, I don't want to take away from the massive amount of growth that Solana has seen. Notably, it's kind of a polarizing topic when you start getting into meme coins and stuff like that. But, you know, Solana has drastically risen up, and there have been a lot of meme coin launches and things like that that have really driven network traffic and volume. One thing to note, I guess my personal opinion on this is it's probably not the best idea to totally go against trends in this space or market trends. That being said, do I think that meme coins are a sustainable long-term investment opportunity, things like that? Maybe not so much. We've seen these cycles go parabolic to the upside and parabolic to the downside as well. So be careful out there with everything that you do. Always try to do your due diligence. Before we hop into the weeds here, found this article today pretty interesting. This is coming out of bitcoin.com. This is the Belt and Road Initiative. Chinese government launching, this is literally the title of the initiative, Ultra Large Scale Blockchain Infrastructure Platform. The Chinese government is reportedly launching an ultra large scale blockchain infrastructure platform for the Belt and Road Initiative. The platform will support the implementation of cross-border cooperation projects and the Belt and Road Initiative, along the Belt and Road Initiative, and provide the base for developing applications to showcase collaboration across borders. This is, again, the name of this project, if you guys want to search for it, is Ultra Large Scale Blockchain Infrastructure Platform for the Belt and Road Initiative. If you guys are not aware, the BRI, or Belt and Road Initiative, is a global infrastructure development strategy aiming to connect continents through trade routes. Notably, we talk about BRICS a lot, or at least in my previous videos we did. We talked about the expansion. We talked about de-dollarization in those nations. You talk about the SWIFT system and its removal from a lot of access within Russia, given the Ukraine situation. Belt and Road Initiative, certainly another initiative that you should all be taking count of and paying attention to what is going on, especially in these regions. But I did find that naming convention a little bit interesting. Ultra Large Scale Blockchain Infrastructure Platform. Great. All right. This is a hit piece that came out today from CoinDesk. This is an opinion from one of their authors. I guess you would say author. Does Ripple's stablecoin mean the death of XRP? I believe that Brad Garlinghouse responded to this as well, but you can see some of the pain points as far as the monopolization of news agencies throughout Web3. And, loaded verbiage one or the other way. And if you read through this entire article, I'm certainly not going to give this the time on my video or energy to read through. It is filled with loaded verbiage. It's filled with assumptions without any research. It's filled with not understanding how the XRP ledger works, what XRP even represents. And it is kind of taking shots at Ripple and taking shots at XRP and the XRP ledger all along the way. That being said, what I will highlight to you guys, and I just gave this guy a follow today. I don't know why I wasn't before, but Crippen Writer put out a really good thread kind of breaking down the stablecoin initiative that Ripple was launching on the XRP ledger and Ethereum to start with. One thing of note, obviously, if they're launching on Ethereum as well as the XRP ledger, we could make the assumption that there are going to be more EVM compatible chains in the very near term. All right, Ripple announced today, this is yesterday, that they will introduce a new stablecoin pegged one-to-one to the United States dollar. The question that we should be asking ourselves is, if you're an XRP investor, holder, interested party, does this imply that XRP is doomed? Let's learn together to fully understand the bigger picture. Ripple News, Stablecoin Basics, Key Differences, Facts and Figures, the XRPL Automated Market Maker, and a summary in here. So Ripple announces these plans are launching an enterprise-grade, compliant, multi-chain compatible, 100% backed USD stablecoin, marking a significant milestone in their expansion into new verticals. This will run on the XRP ledger, and this will run on Ethereum. In contrast to all other stablecoin alternatives, the goal from Ripple is to be transparent and credible. So they're talking about attestation reports, essentially like providing transparent audit reports of what's going on with their stablecoin reserves. We know that we've seen tons of questions around what is going on behind the scenes at Tether. Monthly asset attestations, as well as to commit to a compliant first mindset and contract a high quality auditor to assure full backing. They have not disclosed who the auditor is yet. A stablecoin, if you are not aware, is a digital on-chain representation of an asset that exists outside the chain. The main goal of the issuer of a stablecoin is to serve as a bridge between both worlds, assuring a stable exchange rate while vowing to stay reliable, lawful, and solvent. Coin. You can see kind of the balance beam and the balancing act that's going on here. This guy did a really good job at breaking this down, by the way. Stablecoin basics, the XRP ledger. On the XRP ledger, there is a best practice for issuing a stablecoin. It involves configuring and creating purpose-built accounts. Number one, to mint the stablecoin. Number two, to trust the trusted operator management. And number three, day-to-day business and trading. Another really great graphic here. Stablecoin basics on Ethereum. On Ethereum, stablecoins are simply issued via an ERC20 smart contract. Interesting bullet point here. We actually had the ability to interview Fabian Vogelsteller through Genfinity at Genfinity.io on Twitter maybe a month ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Fabian was actually the author, inventor of ERC20. So the guy literally invented smart contracts. Check that interview out. I'll try to link it below if I remember. Unlike XRPL, where stablecoin issuance is native to the blockchain and safe, Ethereum calls for smart contract audits prior to launch. Key differences: neutrality. Stablecoins can never be neutral since they have a dependency towards the issuer, an institution, or a certain jurisdiction. XRP, on the other hand, is a globally neutral digital asset that is solely tied to the decentralized XRP ledger. Counterparty risk. Every stablecoin has an issuer, which raises concerns about its reserve backings. What if the counterparty is no longer credible and the coin depegs? XRP is and will continue to be the sole counterparty-free asset on the XRP ledger. One thing of note within this, if you have been around here for a little while and you look at the price of Tether, or you look at the price of USDC, which are supposedly backed / pegged, I know that there's a difference there, but the prices have fluctuated historically. I think it was USDC that dropped to like 92 or 93 cents or something like that, like 10 or 11 months ago. USDT always a little bit off of the peg of $1. Let alone the fact of these algorithmic stable coins. We know what happened to US Terra, or Terra Luna's, stablecoin. All right, key differences: transparency. Audits and attestations are the only ways we can check and trust issuers' off-chain reserve assets, but are they genuinely trustworthy? XRP allows anyone to look at the most current ledger on XRP Ledger to learn more about the supply. Fragmentation. There are multiple separate USD stables offered by various issuers on various chains and different automated market makers, but the XRP ledger has always had a single native currency and native decentralized exchange. XRP may bridge them on chain via a method known as quote-unquote auto bridging. Adaptability. Stablecoins are bound by the contracts defined by the issuer and can be created or burnt without total off-chain visibility. Because XRP is not a stablecoin, regardless of, we have seen verbiage out there from different financial institutions a couple of times. I think I even found some of it back in the day that referenced XRP and XLM as stablecoins. But XRP is not a stablecoin and has no need for backing. All new currency creation is up to consensus. De-dollarization. We're entering schizo territory, so follow at your own risk. In contrast to XRP, every United States dollar-backed stablecoin is only as valuable or strong as its off-chain representation. In a world of mistrust, do you have any faith in fiat? Stablecoin, total market cap, 2024. You can see it up here. It's probably about 180 billion in 2022. I think we're back to around 150 billion right now. I mean, obviously pretty big, but in the context of global finance, really, really, really small. But still, for crypto, obviously, you know, wherever we're at right now, you know, it's got a pretty good, I don't have the charts pulled up in front of me. What did we peak at? 3 trillion last cycle, but 150 billion right now is a stablecoin market. And he's got chain dominance in here as well. I'm sure Ethereum takes the cake here. Yeah, we've got Ethereum, Tron, Binance Smart Chain, Arbitrum, Solana, and Avalanche kind of taking the cake. Talk about 24-hour volume, close to, and that's not going to load for some reason, 584, 684, 784, 774, $775 million in volume, 24-hour volume in 2024 for stablecoins. Masari volume trends. The global stablecoin market in summation is massive, with United States dollar Tether leading the pack and Ethereum being the most popular chain to issue such a stablecoin. In terms of automated market makers, which the XRPL obviously now has, stablecoins account for billions of dollars in daily volumes. Because XRP is counterparty free, a Ripple United States dollar-backed stablecoin to XRP automated market maker pair is likely to soon get to the top of the rankings. So these are some assumptions here. Because not only is the XRPL automated market maker different from its competitors in ways that potentially make it a little bit more desirable, so will the stablecoin. So yeah, he's got a good summary here. Ripple plans to launch a new stablecoin. XRP is not doomed, merely the contrary. I think one thing to note, if you read through Ripple's kind of breakdown of this as well, and if you just kind of use some, I guess, a little bit of common sense here, and this isn't a paid for thought or anything like that, but obviously having a stable means of currency on, you know, the ledger, whether, you know, by a stable coin, it's probably very important for developers. You know, developers need to have, you know, money to pay for developer costs. Obviously, XRP fluctuates. Obviously, a stable coin would not. There's all sorts of things you can get involved with DeFi as well here. Decentralized finance. It opens the door for more aspects of DeFi. So, all right. Anyways, enough of the hit piece on XRP, but huge shout out to Krippenreiter here. That was a really good thread. I felt like I wanted to share that with you guys today. Getting into the meat and potatoes of the Solana stuff today. Again, I'm going to preface it this way. I'm not taking anything away from the massive amounts of growth that the Solana ecosystem and network has seen. I've interviewed a few Solana projects in the past. One of the biggest social fi platforms on Solana, Discover. I had the ability to get those guys on a cross-chain panel a couple of weeks ago. So builders are going to build. I'm solely talking about what's happening on the network. 3/4 of Solana transactions have failed throughout March amidst rising decentralized exchange volumes. Now, one thing of note within this, Solana DEX volumes were declining in March of 2024, starting to recover now. Solana price kind of unchanged recently. I think this was maybe 4 or 5 months ago. I remember that there were like 9 situations in the past where the Solana network has either stopped or, you know, had issues, bugs, whatever it may be, transactions having issues going through, halted, whatever. I want to say like 9, and this was maybe a handful of months ago, but I think 2 times have happened in the past handful of months. So I kind of put out a meme tweet today. Again, this isn't like meant to like crap on Solana or anything. This is literally just me finding a little bit of humor in the situation. 75% of transactions on Solana failing 25% of the time. The network works every time. Now, one thing that's of note here is, so I got a comment. Obviously, I'm sure you guys know the Xpunks guys. They actually migrated to Solana. I more so want to focus on what I see all the time on transactions per second, because this is something that you'll see accounts on Twitter or wherever you happen to look that will just like blatantly omit certain things where it's like, and I don't think that this was like nefarious or by intent, by the way. I think that there's people that just don't know, and there's people that do it intentionally. This is, I think, a just don't know situation. So Kai saying 2,500 transactions per second steadily for days now. No other blockchain ever had this amount of traction. It's extremely bullish. So I kind of said, or saying, basically stating that 2,500 TPS or transactions per second can't be handled by any other network. So I kind of, went back and said, I don't believe that that's the case. And I'll show you a couple of other things here. Again, I think this is just a knowledge thing, not a just saying it just to say it thing. I don't think that, Kai and the Xpunks guys operate that way. But anyways, I'm going to tackle the 2,500 TPS thing now. So this is patches from the Hedera ecosystem. He has been a developer forever. So this is kind of an argument here, and this is what I'm going to get into. 2,500 transactions per second is not what's really occurring by economic activity on the network. Not at all. Solana is actually around 500 to 700 real transactions per second. So real economic activity going on that isn't based on voting and consensus behind the scenes. It has nothing to do with people using the network, but the network itself coming to agreement that the transactions are going through. So Patch is saying, oh man, now I get to argue how to calculate TPS. Internal node voting for consensus doesn't really count. And that's what's being counted in that 2,500 transactions per second number. You see it all over the place in Solana. Patch is saying internal node voting for consensus, or the network itself and the participants coming to agreement, does not really count, in my opinion. Solana is around 500 to 700 real transactions per second. One example of a network that certainly does that is Hedera, doing these numbers and much higher without sweating. Let me see. Problems of success are good, though, for Solana, not hating, just saying. So I'm going to go to realtps.net here. And realtps is going to show you that Stellar is about 62 real transactions per second. Polkadot, like a half a transaction per second. Arbitrum, you can see Binance Smart Chain. Solana, Hedera is 694 transactions per second. You can also go to Dragonglass and look at that. But then you go to Solana Explorer, and Solana Explorer is literally telling you that there are right now, 3,232 transactions per second. Okay, so if we know that real economic activity going on in the network is normally around 500 to 700 transactions per second, we have to ask ourselves, why are all these other thousands of transactions per second being taken into account? Because the consensus mechanism of Solana does things totally differently. So the voting aspect that's being taken into account, no other network is taking these TPS numbers into account here. So let me read. Is measuring blockchain transactions per second stupid in 2024? Big questions. Compared to Bitcoin's 7 transactions per second max, which is usually closer to 4, Ripple claimed XRP was able to handle 1,500 transactions per second. Those of us that have been in the XRP community for a long time and have done research have even seen higher numbers than that. I think that there was that document we saw maybe a couple of years ago that stating that it could scale up to match, Visa's TPS, things like that. But anyways, this isn't the point of this video. Solana transactions per second are claimed to be 65,000 transactions per second in a benchmark testing environment. Although they are closer to 3,000 transactions per second in the real world. And its real transactions per second metric is much lower even again. Even newer blockchain networks tout up to 297,000 transactions per second, theoretically. So this gets into the voting aspects. And there's some pretty good threads on here. Solana transactions can be categorized into consensus votes or non-vote transactions. Non-vote transactions mean they'd be similar to like Ethereum transactions. and they represent actual economic activity on the network. However, the transactions per second, or real transactions per second figures presented by Solana, may be misleading by comparison, as they include consensus votes, which constitute up to 85% of the total real transactions per second that are being taken into account. When filtering for non-vote transactions, Solana operates at a more realistic range of 300 to 1,000 transactions per second, depending on the time frame. Yet, still outperforms many other non-Ethereum virtual machine chains in transaction throughput. The nuanced perspective highlights the unique nature of Solana's TPS metrics compared to most other blockchain networks. So they've invented a way to bring in, essentially state more real transactions per second. Again, nothing against the growth of Solana. There's been massive growth. Any builder on Solana certainly willing to support any builder going to any network, doing anything that they're trying to do to further the adoption of Web3 technology. However, whenever you have a block explorer stating real transactions per second, and you see people on Twitter saying real transactions per second, and without providing context to that, you have new people coming into the space having no idea what they're looking at, being like, oh my God, look at how much activity is going on in this network, when really over 90%, and you can even argue 95, 98% of the network activity for real transactions per second measurement are not actually economic activity, but are happening behind the scenes with validators. You have to ask yourself why. So this is showing that around 90%, this is a Reddit thread, of all transactions on Solana are actually just vote transactions. Are vote transactions submitted by validators to vote on the blockchain/timeline? If so, how many of those transactions must be submitted per validator? Blah, 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 blah. So there's some really good breakdowns on here as well. If I would cut out the transactions that are coming from vote transactions, Serum V3 and the system transactions, so internal back-end processes, and then just having the economic activity shown for real transactions per second. This is 2 years ago again, so take that with a grain of salt. That would mean I normalize/reduce the real transaction count per second by 99%. Can someone from the Solana team jump in and agree or disagree? I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I will talk to you when I talk to you, and have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.